Evan, a lone engineer, walks through a snowy night while fixing communication towers. He discovers a young alien girl, barely conscious, shivering in the cold storm. She has glowing blue skin, strange markings, and looks terrified of him. Evan slowly approaches and gives her his warm jacket, telling her, "You're safe." The girl touches the jacket like it's something sacred. She whispers a single word in her language Evan doesn't understand. Her eyes shine with relief and gratitude. Evan carries her to the outpost to warm her, but she vanishes the moment he turns around. Evan finds the jacket neatly folded outside his door. A crystal-like leaf rests on top of it, glowing softly. A message is scratched on the metal wall in an alien script. Evan feels watched and chosen. Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Stories. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Evan moved through the icy night on the quiet frontier planet, feeling the cold wind push against his suit, as he checked the broken signal tower that kept humans connected to the nearby colonies. And he wondered how the storm had become so strong so quickly, because he could barely see the ground under the heavy snow, and he kept telling himself to finish the repair fast before he froze out there. And then he heard a soft sound like someone crying in the dark, and he turned slowly thinking it was me. Wild animal, but what he saw made him forget every task he had in his mind, because there on the white ground lay a small alien girl with glowing skin, half buried in snow, shaking like she was seconds away from death. And Evan felt his heart jump, because she looked so fragile and lost. And he knew he could not leave her no matter what rules the colony had made about unknown species, so he knelt beside her and saw fear in her bright eyes. And he spoke softly, even though she could not understand. Him telling her she would be fine and that he was there to help, and without thinking he took off his warm jacket and placed it around her shoulders. And she gasped at the warmth like she had never felt anything like it before, and when her hands touched the jacket, she held it with a strange, careful respect, as if it was something holy. And then she looked at Evan with wide, glowing eyes and whispered a single word in her language, and he wished he understood it, but he knew it was important because it carried a deep emotion, almost like gratitude, and she tried to stand, but she was too weak, so he carefully lifted her and carried her toward the outpost, feeling her cold weight against him. And he kept telling her she would be safe and that everything would be all right. And when he reached the door of the outpost, he turned for 1 second to open the lock. And in that single second, she vanished, leaving only faint blue footprints in the snow, and Evan froze in shock, because she had been too weak to walk, yet now she was somehow gone, and the outpost lights flickered, as if something unseen had passed through them, and he entered slowly, feeling uneasy and confused, and all night he heard strange whispers outside like the wind carried voices that were not human, and the sensors picked up several moving shapes watching the outpost, but none came close, and by morning the storm had calmed, and Evan stepped outside to check again, and he almost dropped everything he was holding because sitting neatly on the snow was his jacket, completely clean and dry, and on top of it was a small crystal leaf glowing with a gentle blue light, and next to it, carved into the metal wall, was an alien message written with perfect precision. And Evan felt a shiver that was not from the cold, because it felt like someone had been right beside him while he slept, and he thought about the alien girl, and wondered if she had returned during the night, and he tried to understand why she would leave his jacket so carefully, as if it meant something important. Her people, and while he stood there thinking, the ground began to tremble with a slow, steady rhythm, and at first he thought it was another storm or maybe a transport ship landing, but then the tremble grew stronger, and he saw movement at the edge of the forest, tall dark silhouettes moving with perfect coordination. And he took a step back, because they were not human and they were coming straight toward him, and as they came closer, he saw that they were 3 tall alien women with the same glowing skin as the girl, but older and wearing elegant armor that shimmered with strange patterns, and each carried a long blade made of crystal and energy, and they stopped in front of him, forming a semicircle as if trapping him. And yet they did not attack, and the leader stepped forward, her height towering over him and her expression unreadable. And she spoke in a deep, calm voice, saying, "Human, do you understand what you have done?" And Evan shook his head slowly, because he truly did not, and the alien women exchanged looks that showed worry and surprise, and the leader said, "You gave warmth to our lost sister, and in our culture that act is not simple, it is a sacred bond, a promise, a mark that cannot be undone." And Evan felt confusion swirl inside him, because he had only tried to help someone freezing to death, and before he could speak, the alien women moved aside, and from behind them came the same alien girl from last night, now standing strong, wearing beautiful ceremonial armor, and she looked at Evan with a strange mix of awe, gratitude, and determination, and she raised her hand pointing at him, and in perfect clear English she said, "By our ancient law, The human belongs to us now, and Evan felt the entire world fall silent as her words echoed in the cold morning air. Evan stood frozen in the cold morning air as the alien girl stepped toward him, her glowing eyes fixed on him with a heavy meaning that he could not yet understand, and the tall alien women behind her watched with guarded expressions, as if ready to act the moment anything went wrong, and Evan felt his heart pounding harder than the storm from the night before, because nothing in his life had ever prepared him for this moment. And he slowly raised his hands, not in fear, but in confusion, and he tried to explain that he had only helped her because she was freezing and alone, and he could not leave someone to die no matter what world they came from. But the alien girl shook her head softly and told him that among her people the sharing of warmth was a sacred act, a promise of protection and trust, a bond of profound meaning. And as she spoke, the alien women murmured to each other, their voices low and heavy with debate, and Evan could feel their conflicting emotions swirling around him like a silent wind, some suspicious, some curious, some strangely respectful, and before he could say a word the ground shook again, not from the women, but from a deep roar rising from the distant trees, and the alien leader turned sharply, her crystalline blade humming with energy as she scanned the forest line, and the girl stepped closer to Evan, placing herself in front of him, as if shielding him, and the gesture stunned him because he had been ready to protect her. And now she was doing the same for him, and the leader spoke in her low, steady voice, saying, "The hunters are near," and Evan did not know who the hunters were, but the way their faces changed told him everything he needed to know. They were enemies, and they were close. And the alien girl reached out, grabbing the front of his suit and pulling him with surprising strength, urging him toward the outpost. And he followed, stumbling slightly, as the alien warriors took defensive positions around him, and the leader commanded him to stay behind them no matter what happened, and Evan felt a sinking dread in his stomach, but also a strange determination rising, because he could not let them fight alone, not after everything that had happened. And inside the outpost, he saw the warning system flashing bright red, and he realized that the predators must have intercepted the broken signal tower during the storm, and now they were coming to claim whatever they had sensed in the night. And Evan rushed to the control panel, scanning through the systems, and saw that the defenses were outdated and weak, barely enough to scare off small threats, and certainly not enough to stop something powerful enough to frighten the alien warriors outside. And without thinking, he started pulling open the panels, tools and rerouting power lines, mixing human tech with the glowing crystal leaf. The alien girl had left him, and the energy reacted instantly, pulsing with a soft blue light that spread across the defense grid. And the alien leader looked back through the open door, her eyes widening as she saw the sudden burst of power. And she said to her warriors, "The human works with our essence, as if it is natural," and Evan wanted to respond, but the roar came again, much closer and louder, shaking the walls, and the alien women tightened their formation around the outpost as dark shapes moved between the trees, stretching like shadows made of claws and hunger, and Evan felt fear crawl up his spine. But he kept working, weaving the energy patterns with his human circuits until the defense system hummed like a living creature ready to strike. And he ran outside, shouting to the alien women to stand clear as the ground trembled beneath them, and the hunters burst from the trees, tall black creatures with glowing red eyes and armored skin, moving faster than anything Evan had ever seen, and the alien warriors met them head on, their crystal blades slicing through the air and lighting the battlefield with sparks of blue energy. And Evan stood beside the alien girl, who looked at him with a fierce loyalty he did not yet understand, and he held a makeshift emitter powered by the alien crystal leaf. And when the first hunter charged at them, he activated it, sending a wave of pure blue light crashing into the creature and knocking it back into the snow. And the alien girl stared at him in awe and said, "You fight for us." And Evan answered without hesitation, "I fight for you." And that moment gave her strength, and together they defended the outpost, while the alien warriors pushed the hunters back step by step, until the creatures finally retreated into the forest, leaving behind glowing trails that slowly faded into silence. And when the last echo vanished, the alien leader approached Evan and bowed her head, a gesture of deep respect in her culture, and she said, "Human, you have shown courage, loyalty, and skill beyond what we expected. You have honored the bond and proven your worth." And the alien girl stepped closer, taking his hand gently, as if the entire world depended on that small touch, and she said in a soft voice, "When you gave me warmth, you saved more than my life. You changed my path and yours, and now our people will honor this connection." And Evan looked at the rising sun, feeling the weight and wonder of everything that had happened, and then a deep shadow fell across the snow as a massive ship descended from the sky, its shape elegant and ancient, and filled with lights that pulsed like stars. And the alien leader said, "The clan arrives to receive you." And Evan felt his breath catch, because his life on the frontier world his lonely routine, his simple duties, everything was about to change. And the alien girl squeezed his hand and whispered, "Come with us, and learn what your act of kindness has awakened." And Evan looked at the ship, the alien warriors, the girl who had trusted him, and he knew there was no turning back, because his journey with them had only begun. Evan stood before the towering alien ship, feeling the swirling air and humming vibration as its great engines settled into the snow. And the alien girl remained beside him, her hand wrapped around his, with a steady warmth that reminded him of the moment everything had begun. And the alien warriors formed a protective circle around them, their armor glowing faintly, as if reacting to the presence of the arriving vessel. And as the large entrance ramp lowered with a slow, thunderous groan, Evan felt an overwhelming mix of fear and wonder, because he had dreamed of encountering advanced alien civilizations, but never imagined being personally summoned by one. And when the ramp touched the ground, a line of tall robed figures slowly emerged, their movements calm and deliberate. And Evan immediately sensed their authority, even though none of them spoke. And the alien girl lowered her head in deep respect, as did the warriors. And she gently nudged Evan to do the same, so he bowed, awkwardly hopping. He did not insult anyone, and the robed figures approached, examining him with eyes that seemed to glow like distant stars. And the leader of the robed group stepped forward, her presence powerful and serene. And she reached toward Evan, stopping just short of touching him, as if testing the energy around him. And she said in a voice that echoed with age and wisdom, "The bond made through warmth has been witnessed and accepted." And Evan felt a strange force wrap around him like a soft, invisible cloth, and he wondered if it was their way of examining him or marking him. And the alien girl whispered to him that it was a ritual of recognition, a way of acknowledging his connection to their clan. And the robed leader nodded once, acknowledging the girl, and said, "He carries the essence of our tribe within his actions and his courage and his choice." And Evan tried to speak, but the words felt stuck in his throat, not out of fear, but out of the sheer weight of everything unfolding around him. And the robed leader turned toward the ship, motioning for him and the girl to follow, and the warriors closed formation behind them, ensuring no danger would approach as they ascended the glowing ramp into the vast interior of the ship. And the inside was unlike anything Evan had ever imagined, shimmering walls that pulsed like living stone, soft lights that drifted freely like fireflies, and platforms that shifted shape as people walked over them. And Evan felt like he had stepped inside a dream, carved out of starlight and ancient memories. And the alien girl stayed close, leading him through corridors filled with intricate carvings depicting the history of her people. And she explained that their clan had wandered between stars for thousands of years, guided by honor and sacred traditions. And Evan listened, amazed by the depth of their culture and the pain in her voice, when she described wars with the hunters who had stalked them across planets long before humans learned to build spaceships. And when they reached a wide chamber at the heart of the ship, Evan stopped, because a massive structure rose from the floor, a luminous crystalline monolith surrounded by drifting rings of energy, and the robed leader stood before it and said, "This is the core of our memory, the place where the truth of our people lives, and where the bonds of our clan are recorded in." Evan felt a soft pull drawing him closer, as if the monolith recognized him, and the alien girl took his hand with both of hers, guiding him to stand before the glowing structure. And she said, "This will show them your heart and your intention." And the robed leader placed her hand on the monolith, and its rings began to spin faster, radiating waves of gentle blue light that filled the chamber. And Evan felt warmth surround him, filling his lungs and his mind. And for a moment he felt weightless, as if floating a vast, calm ocean. And then visions filled the air around him, showing images from his past, his lonely nights repairing towers, his quiet meals eaten in silence, his small, careful joys, his struggles to do the right thing, even when nobody watched. And the robed leader watched the visions with quiet understanding, and said, "The human heart is strong and steady. He shows compassion without seeking reward. He honors life, even when stranded in solitude." And the alien girl looked at the visions with tears in her shining eyes, because she could see clearly now that the kindness he had shown her had not been a single moment, but a reflection of who he truly was. And then the monolith shifted its glow, focusing on the bond between them. The moment he wrapped his jacket around her, the moment she whispered her gratitude, the moment she stood before him ready to protect him, and the moment he charged into danger to defend her. And the robed leader spoke again, saying, "The bond is pure, and its strength has grown, and the clan shall recognize it." And Evan felt the invisible force lift from him, gently returning him to the solid floor. And the robed leader looked at the girl and said, "You have chosen with clarity and bravery." And she turned to Evan and said, "And you human have accepted without fear and without desire for gain. And so the clan welcomes you as one of our own." And Evan felt a strange mixture of humility and disbelief, because he had never imagined being accepted into an alien clan or being trusted with something so sacred, and the alien girl stepped closer, standing right in front of him, her eyes filled with warmth and hope. And she said, "This journey has brought us both to a new path. And whatever comes next, we face it together." And before Evan could speak, the ship trembled slightly as the engines prepared for ascent. And the robed leader said, "We leave this world now, the hunters will return, and you must come with us to learn our ways and strengthen the bond you carry." And Evan looked back at the ramp where the cold world lay outside, and he realized he no longer belonged to that lonely place. And he turned toward the alien girl, who smiled softly and squeezed his hand again. And with a single deep breath, he nodded, stepping forward as the ramp lifted and sealed behind them. And the ship rose into the sky, carrying Evan toward a future he could never have imagined, a future woven with alien stars, ancient traditions, and the quiet, powerful connection between him and the girl whose life he had saved with nothing more than a simple act of human kindness.